Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The News.
Welcome to the news tonight, America. I am your host, Anchorman Jack Kiesling. See, I wear many hats that all look the same. Tonight on the news, some really cool stories to lead off. Something that I'm personally very excited about because I grew up thinking pirates were just the coolest thing in the world, and I still feel that way. A very famous pirate ship by the name of the Whydah was found off the coast of Cape Cod, along with it a mass grave of over 100 bodies that scientists and archaeologists believe is the crew of the Whydah, captained by Black Bellamy. Now, some of you may know who Black Bellamy is. He was one of the most successful pirates in history, including all of the Golden Age pirates and so on and so forth. The guy over his career amassed a fortune in stolen goods, totaling about $120 million in value in today's finances. Okay, so this mass grave was found off the coast of Cape Cod. There are over 100 bodies in it. They believe that it is Black Bellamy's crew. They also believe that they found Black Bellamy himself. So they'll be doing some DNA tests with living relatives of his to determine if it is indeed his remains. Really cool. That ship has been lost since 1717 when it went down in a storm. Okay, so Black Bellamy, very famous for, capturing a bunch of money, but he's also famous for a number of other reasons that are really important. Okay, so he was originally a Royal Navy sailor, okay, but he lost his job after one of the Spanish Wars, I don't remember. After the war ended, the Navy drew back on its force structure, and he was out of a job. Well, he went home and he met himself a beautiful lady, and he was like, ooh la la, and she was like, yes. And then her dad was like, no, you're poor, right? So father of the girl he wants to marry, very wealthy, and says, you can't marry my daughter, you're not rich enough. So he's like, all right, cool, check me out. I'm going to go leave, and I'm going to come back mega rich, right? So he left. He wound up capturing the Whydah, which was on its maiden voyage as a slave ship, right? So 1717, it was 1714 when he started out. Slave ship's a big deal. He captures this slave ship on its maiden voyage, and he's like, yeah, we're not going to do slaves anymore. Check this out. If you're a slave and you want to be part of my crew, totally acceptable. Come on, be a part of my crew. So one of the few pirates that actively brought former slaves onto his crew as equal members of the crew. He once very famously said that no man should be elevated above any other. He also ran his crew in a democratic leadership style, and by that I mean that everyone had access to everything. No one was restricted from anything except his cabin, his room. All decisions for the crew were made democratically. Everybody, had just as much of a stake in the success and failure of the ship as anybody else did. He also did not keep their plunder and treasure under lock and key. Traditionally, on pirate ships, only the officers and a very select few of those would have access to the treasure stores on ship. On Black Bellamy's crew, everyone had access to it, because he believed if I can't trust my men, they can't trust me. And if they won't trust me, they won't fight for me. So really cool stuff. The guy took the Whydah, which was already very impressively outfitted with cannon, added a bunch more cannons to it, removed some subdecks, turned this thing into just a gnarly fast ship. And, he very famously would practice mercy on opposing ship crews when he would capture them. So, he would fire warning shots, and he would chase them around, firing warning shots, trying his hardest not to sink the ship. Obviously, because if the ship goes down, I don't get any treasure. But often, after taking the spoils that he wanted, he would damage the ship's rudder, so the ship they have just taken over can't chase them, and then he would leave. So he wouldn't kill anybody that didn't, raise weapons to try to kill him. So really cool. The finding of his crew, and potentially he himself, very important. They've already raised chests upon chests of treasure from this wreck site, and as you can see in the image, that is a model of the Whydah under Black Bellamy's configuration. So go check that out online, do some research on it. Black Bellamy was a really cool pirate. My nose acts as an amplifier. Oh,
that's
what?
just theater, bitches.
Yeah, what she said. I can project. On to the next. So this little adorable puppy right here had an adventure of the style that they make Disney movies out of. Man, I'm telling you. So this little guy right here lives in Taiwan, and he got lost. He was separated from home and family and couldn't find them. They're not really sure how long he was out there on his own, but it was at least a couple of weeks. Okay. Unable to find home, what did he do? Well, he went to the one place that he knew people would be and they would know who he was. He went to his vet clinic. So he had just been there a couple of weeks prior for his annual shots and all that stuff. And he's like, I'm going to go back there because they know who I am. And I don't know about you guys, but my dogs hate going to the vet. They hate it, they hate it, they hate it. They like the car ride there, but once they realize where they're going, they're like, you bastards. This little guy was like, uh-huh. So he went straight to the vet, waited until they opened up in the morning, and in fact, security cameras show him like hanging out in the lobby waiting for people to show up and like recognize him. And of course, the vet staff recognized this little guy and they were like, we know who you belong to. Called his owners came down and got him. Super, super happy story. Now, when I read this article online, it immediately reminded me of the Disney film Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey. It's about two dogs and a cat who get separated from their family and have this incredible cross-country adventure to get reunited with their family. Now, this little guy didn't go across country because he's smarter than them. He just went to the vet clinic. He's like, yo, call my mom. And I loved it. And I think he's so cute with those humongous bat ears he's got there. So listen, if your mom can't handle you, she can't take care of you, just let me know, buddy. I got a spot for you at the house. It'll be all right. Okay. Yeah. Super fun story, man. Love it. Also, very exciting, the very first black female combat pilot in the United States Navy. Very, very cool. So who you are seeing on your screen right here is Lieutenant Junior Grade Madeline Sweggle, or Sweggle. Yeah, Sweggle. I can read my own handwriting. So she is the very first black female tactical fighter pilot in the United States naval history. United States naval aviation has existed for 110 years. Okay, they have never had a black female tactical pilot. They've had, African-American female cargo pilots and like stoof pilots, but they've never had a tactical fighter pilot of the black female variety. Now, some of you might say, we shouldn't need to call out these things, right? It shouldn't matter. Just like this lieutenant is now a fighter pilot. Awesome. And I agree with you, except that it's 2020. Right? And U.S. naval aviation has existed for 110 years, and she is the first black female to make it into the tactical fighter squadrons. That's a big deal. Now, she herself said that she never set out to be the first of anything. She never thought about it. She never wanted to be the first of anything. She just wanted to be a combat pilot, right? She says that she was inspired to pursue her dream by her parents, who told her at an early age that anyone can be anything they want to be if they work hard enough to achieve their goals. She says she was also inspired to become a U.S. naval aviator by watching the Blue Angels as a kid. So really, really cool. She has graduated from flight school. She'll now go on to tactical fighter school. And most likely she'll end up flying either F-18s or F-35s. So I'm sure she's probably hoping for F-35s because they're the new sexy badass airplane. But listen, the F-18's awesome. It's the Cadillac of the sky. All right? So take it from me because I totally know because I've ever flown in either one of those aircraft. Okay. But anyway, so really, really cool deal. Congratulations to her. Looking forward to hearing more about your career as you continue to move onwards and upwards in the Navy. Yeah. All right. Something near and dear to my heart. For the first time in the history of the tribe, the Esselen tribe in California has repatriated 1,199 acres of their ancestral land. Okay, so this ancestral land is located on the California coast in the Big Sur region, which is very near to the Little Sur River. Okay, these tribals were kicked off of their land by Spanish colonists 250 years ago. Okay, yes, Ryan, the A-10 rules, but the A-10 is not a naval aircraft. Air Force. Anyway. 250 years ago, this tribe was kicked off their land by Spanish colonists. They just got it back. Not all of it, mind you, but almost 1,200 acres of their land that they got back. This was all accomplished by the purchase agreement totaling $4.5 million for this tribe to get their land back. Okay. At one point in the 1800s, the numbers of this tribe were less than 1,000. They had been absolutely decimated by colonists, war, famine, and disease. At one point in time, it was very likely that this tribe was going to be extinct. But fortunately, they've been able to regain a lot of their strength. They've been able to get some partnerships and make some money. They actually partnered with a conservation group out of Portland, Oregon, to be able to do this and to get the grant money to get their land back. Their intention is to live the land as they would have, as they did 250 years ago, which is really cool. They're also going to build, some museum exhibits and stuff for visitors to come and see the history of the land and the history of the tribe and all that stuff. So very, very important. Now, not everybody knows it's not something I talk about a whole lot because it's not something that I'm, trying to get anybody to be like, oh, look at me. That's not what it is. But I do have a good bit of Native American ancestry from the Cherokee tribe. And for really the last 15 years, I've spent a lot of time researching the tribe and talking to, a number of people that are in my tribe and learning about our culture and our history and all that stuff. And it's very, very fascinating and something that I'm very proud to be a part of. I said that I don't mention it often, and really that's because a couple of times in my professional life, it has come up, well, if you check the box that you're Native American, you might get this grant or you might get this promotion opportunity or whatever. But the thing is, I personally have never suffered in any way because of my Native ancestry, because I don't really look Native. My Scottish genes are a lot stronger than my Native genes. So I personally have never suffered from, the fact that I have Native American ancestry. And I don't believe that those benefits are made for people like me. Those benefits exist for, the Natives and First Nation people who grew up on tribal lands or who were subject to racism, discrimination, discriminatory practices, anything like that. Those are the people that those benefits are made for. They're not made for me, right? Like I grew up in a stable home. I grew up in a decent economy, and we weren't rich by any stretch of the imagination. We never suffered for anything. The government paid for my college. Those benefits are not for me. But that doesn't mean that my heart doesn't feel connected to those people. And so obviously different tribes here, but the fact that finally in 2020 tribes are starting to get some of their land back and they're starting to be able to return to their ancestral homes and to live the way that they want to live is a huge victory. It's huge. Okay. Yes, Chris. Go to Scotland. A lot of Scotsmen wear jeans these days, mate. See, I don't even look at the comments anymore. I just wait for her to laugh, and then I'm like, somebody commented something funny. All right, but this is a really big deal, and very, very excited to see this become a trend for tribes getting their territory back and their land back. It's very, very important. Obviously their land was straight stolen from them, so give it back. Okay, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the news.
The Fists of Arkan is the debut novel by author Jack Kiesling. Action, adventure, and personal challenges are the focal point of this immersive book set against a backdrop of war. Deep character development and wide perspectives explore social issues relevant to the real world. Dive in and discover the answer to the age-old question faced by leaders many. What kind of royal will you be? This is a paid advertisement for Jack Kiesling Books and the Fists of Arkan.